Don't have many cards? Hate Zoo? Love Shaman too? Well, I've got a deck for you. Hello and welcome to a new updated version of my ranked deck videos, in which we sort of cover the whole deck and the means and ideas behind it in a very short and efficient way compared to how we used to do it. Today we're looking at Alesh's aggressive Shaman deck, which is really great because it actually has a low dust requirement similar to that of Zoo. You know, if you're someone who doesn't have many cards or dust themselves, this could be a great deck for you because it's so cheap and it's very efficient and it works really well in GVG. So if you want to actually check out the official video made by Alesh on the Shaman, his opinion on it and him playing the actual game, you can click the link in the description and go over to Tempo Storm's website or even the actual video itself on the YouTube channel. This deck is great because it's so cheap. We're talking 1,800 dust to craft the whole thing if you have none of these cards, and the chances are high that you actually will have these cards because they're usually good to have in general. So, we're going to start with the 1-drops, 2 Earth Shocks, 2 Leper Gnomes, 2 Lightning Bolts, 2 Rock Bioweapons, and 2 Undertakers. Pretty simple stuff, guys. The Leper Gnomes are a great Death Rattle 1-mana drop for 2/1. It always ends up doing 2 damage, if not more, and it's just a great 1-drop in general for a deck that likes to hit someone fast and hard. And with the Undertaker, it synergizes well because the Undertaker works with Death Rattle minions, and we have a few of those in the deck. The Rock Biter and the Earth Shocks and the Lightning Bolts are your bread and butter. These things go into almost every Shaman deck, and it's sort of expected. Next up, we have a lot of 2-drops here. We have Acidic Swampoos, we have Crackle ×2, we have Flame Tongue Totem ×2, we have Haunted Creeper ×2, we have 2 Knife Jugglers, and we have 2 Loot Hoarders. So, we have a few Death Rattle cards here. The Haunted Creeper, a Death Rattle card, synergizing with the Undertaker. The actual Loot Hoarders, synergizing with the Undertaker again. Then the Flame Tongue Totem. This is great for a fast deck like this because it buffs up these minions, and if you're filling the board with minions, it's great because it buffs those minions up. Crackle is a solid, really great nuke and removal card that has been released in GVG, and it's recommended in a lot of decks. Now, about the Acidic Swampoos, we'll pop back to that, but I'm actually running 2 of those rather than 1, and we'll talk about that soon. Next up, the 3-drops. Dancing Swords ×2, 2 Feral Spirits, and 1 Hex. Only 1. You can change this if you want, but yeah, we don't have many 3-drops here. Dancing Swords isn't usually a good card. A 3-mana 4/4 is great, but its actual description and Death Rattle is, when it dies, it gives your opponent a card. This is normally terrible, but because we're running Jeeves, which we'll talk about in just a moment, it actually works out fine. Because it's a Death Rattle card, again synergizes with Undertaker, again it's a 4/4, which is great. The Feral Spirits, sure the overload's there, but it is a solid card and goes into pretty much all of the Shaman decks because it slows down the opponent, stops them from hitting you in the face, and works really well with things like Flame Tongue Totem. The Hex is a given. You kind of need at least 1 in your deck for like hard removal to really remove that big guy that they may play, and it is a bit painful to not have 2, but in this kind of deck you might mulligan and end up having 2 hexes in your opening hand, which is a surefire way to lose the game. So right now there's only 1 being run. Now onto the 4-drops. We're looking at 2 Jeeves and that's it. Jeeves is a great card because it is essentially the Warlock draw mechanic, which is a neutral card that everyone can play. The problem is people are unsure about this card right now because it does backfire and give your opponent cards every now and then. But the thing about this deck is you are emptying your hand and playing everything you can, so you need this card draw with Jeeves. And honestly, you don't care if your opponent's drawing tons of cards from it most of the time because you're drawing the cards that you need to win. And so you just have to ignore your opponent drawing cards. And if you can synergize it with other cards such as Dancing Swords, which is going to give your opponent a card, therefore making their Jeeves less powerful and more powerful for you. So it's a great synergy there, Dancing Swords with the Undertaker, with Jeeves, and I really like the synergy. It works really well. And finally, we have 2 Doomhammers in the deck. Now, for me personally, I only run 1 of these, and I swapped in an Acidic Swampoos, so I have 2 Swampooses instead of 1 Swampoos and 2 Doomhammers, simply because Doomhammer overloads you. It's a 5-mana drop. It's not really suited to this deck, but it's a great finisher. It synergizes great with the Rock Biter combo because you could use a Rock Biter on it and then hit twice for 5 damage, doing a 10 damage nuke, and it's a great kill condition. But the problem with this is, it is again a 5-mana drop, and I think having 2 might be too much. I've tried both. Right now I'm preferring to have an extra Swampoos. It comes down to preference, guys, and you can build the deck and play the deck however you want, but Alesh officially uses 2 Doomhammers, and I can understand that. So that's the deck, guys. From Mulligan, you want to keep as many 1-drops and 2-drops as you can, and it really depends on which class you're facing for your like mana removal cards. For example, with Mage, you might want to keep maybe 1 mana removal card and get those 1 and 2 drops, you know, the Undertakers, the Lepinomes, the Loot Hoarders, the Haunted Creepers. And if you're facing someone with a weapon, such as a Warrior, a Paladin, a Rogue, then you try and look for an Ooze at least to have as one of your 2 drops at the start, or a Hunter, for example. With Druid, obviously you won't be keeping any of your hard removal at the start because it's a Druid, you want that later in the game, and it really depends with the Warlock against Zoo, and also, you know, Handlock, so maybe keeping 1's a good idea. But otherwise, guys, it's played very fast. You know, you get the minions on the board, you go face, you trade where you can, you make efficient trades, and try and get those 2-for-1s, and bring down your opponent with Crackles, with your Doom Hammer, with your Rock Biter combo, and overall, you just do damage to the face. It's very strong, feels very fun, it's very fast-paced games, which I really appreciate. I like to get through games quickly, and it suits ranking up. So if you're struggling on ladder, maybe try out the deck, and if you don't have much dust, I heartily recommend this deck if you're not a fan of playing Zoo all day, as is everyone apparently. Once again, guys, thank you to Alesh for making the deck and putting it out there for us to use. It's been really fun to use myself. I am definitely trying it on ladder and enjoying myself, so I wish you the best of luck. If you'd like to check out the full deck list, just have a quick look at it. There will be a link in the description of like a push link or something, so you can just see the full deck yourself and look at it instantly. And also, remember to check out Tempo Storm, because this is where this deck came from. So otherwise, yeah, there'll be a gameplay video up tomorrow. If you're watching this not on the day it was uploaded, then it'll probably be uploaded now. And yeah, there'll be like a link on screen for you to do to actually click and go over to the gameplay and actually see it in play, me playing it, me explaining my moves, and see if you can get a feel for how it's played and maybe try it yourself. Or just try the link in the description if you don't want to click on the video for whatever reason. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for giving this new series or try of style a chance, and feedback is always appreciated. I've been Hollow, you've been you, and I'll see you next time.